Hi, I'm Kyle Steele, Program Director of Rally. Rally is an international social enterprise accelerator, and our goal is to work with individuals in the very early stages of their idea and work to create a sustainable venture that creates positive and measurable social environmental change. Each year, we receive hundreds of applications for each cohort announcement. And to help us to understand who's world class and who's ready for Rally, we look at the questions on the applications to determine who we're going to accept into the program. So our goal today is to help you to understand and unpack each question so that you can answer it appropriately. The reality is that we only have 10 spots for each cohort, and individuals are competing with individuals from around the world. And so through the session, our hope is that you're able to get the insight that you need in order to propel your application or elevate your application above the competition. So let's take a few minutes to review the application and go through some of the very critical questions that you'll need to answer during this very early phase of your application. So actually, let's take a look at the very first place that individuals kind of start not in the ideal way. It's this question right here, number 7 on the application, where we say, please enter the URL of a 3-minute unlisted video, a YouTube or Vimeo video that introduces yourself, your social mission, and a demo and or presentation of your product or service. The interesting thing is a lot of times individuals will just send over their product videos that they use in their marketing efforts. This is definitely not the thing you want to do in this case. Clearly what we're looking for here is we just want to understand who you are as a person, right? We want to, so introduce yourself. It doesn't have to be a well-produced video. You can just simply use your phone or your camera or iPad or tablet or whatever you're using. But the point is that we just want to just a very dirty, non-professional, just off the cuff view of who you are. And so in the video, what you want to do is just kind of introduce who you are, your name, where you're from. Tell us what's your social mission? Like, why is it that you're doing this work? I mean, these are things that we're looking for as a review panel. So why are you doing your work? And then briefly just kind of take us through what your product is, who your product serves, and if you have a product or demo, just walk us through, like at a very high level, the features of the platform and how it connects back to the benefits that you're outlaying in your value proposition. Once again, this video doesn't need to be past 3 minutes. The reality is that really after a minute and a half, we're kind of like are moving on. And so the goal here is to get everything that you need. The shorter, the better, and the clearer and the conciser you can be is perfect. But if you can get everything in, which you can within one and a half minutes, is great. But the point is, once again, I want to underscore this: do not send us marketing videos, and do not send us videos over 3 minutes. Next question is question 14, where we ask the question, what personally connects you to this issue? Part of of our understanding of social entrepreneurship is that the motivation, whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, the motivation started because you had a personal encounter with some injustice or inequity in the world that you saw. Whether it's with a group of people or with a place or an environment, you experienced or saw something. And that's what we want to understand here. It's like, what personally connects you to this? Because our belief is that not only are social, and this is what makes a social entrepreneur, is the fact that they're not necessarily looking to solve a market problem where they're able to earn revenue, but the primary motivation was that they saw, once again, some social or environmental injustice or an inequity, and they want to correct it. And so it's important that you're able to articulate what that connection is to you that's personal, that allows us to really understand whether you are a true social entrepreneur or someone who just happened to be in a space where the main motivation was to earn revenue, but you thought that adding a social component to your business model would help you expand or access new markets. And that's definitely, there's a place, and that's good, there's a place for that, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for true social entrepreneurs where the founding motivation was, I saw some injustice or inequity, in society or the world or the environment, and I want to correct it. And so this is the place to articulate that. Question 15 is describe the beneficiary of your intended social environmental impact. Here, oftentimes, applicants will get this confused with the customer. Customers and beneficiaries are different. In the beneficiary, we're looking for who's the group or the place or the location that has been negatively impacted by a social or environmental issue. We want to understand who that person, place is. And so the more that you can get granular in the demographics, the backgrounds, the characteristics of that, the better it is for us as a group, a panel, to really understand who your beneficiary is. Question 16 is describe your primary customer, meaning who pays as opposed to users of your product or service, or your donor. What we're looking for here is just your understanding of who your customer is. To say that our customers are schools is inadequate. World-class entrepreneurs will make that much more granular. And so what does that look like? In the application, you'll see some examples, right? So if it's an individual or a set of a group of people, we want you to be able to describe the characteristics, the backgrounds, the demographics of these individuals. We want to understand your level of knowledge around in terms of the granular aspects of that group or that location or place. And so this is very important because if you understand this, then you know where to find these individuals. When it's time to scale, you can select the right channel, then you can speak to them in the right way. And so in this section, it's very important that you get as granular as possible with who your beneficiary is. Number 17 is describe the pressing problem or desire your primary customer or donor has or wants to solve. To do this well, world-class entrepreneurs will have to do some customer discovery. There's no getting around that. And so customer discovery happens in a variety of ways: surveys, interviews. You can do some online research, but the key is you have to get in front of customers because either you seek them out or maybe you were the customer. But the point is that in order to understand the problems that your customer, the person, the individual or entity that's paying, or the donor has and wants to solve, you need to have that very deep knowledge and intimate knowledge of the issue. And so once again, filling out this section with being very clear about the customer problems or the opportunities or the donor problems or opportunities that you've seen helps us get a very good insight into your understanding of the issues that are necessary for you to build a compelling value proposition that resonates with customers and donors, that ultimately gets them to pull the lever. The lever is to spend money with you or to donate money with you. Number 18 is describe the revenue generating product or service or donation as packaging that your venture is currently offering or would like to offer that solves the customers or donors problems. So once again, you see how question 17 links with question 18. So in this description, you just need to give a high level description. It is what type of platform is it? Is it a web-based platform? Is it a consumer product? We need to understand like how it's delivered, right? Is it delivered online? Is it delivered through the mail? Is it a physical thing? So we need to understand that. And then we need to get a very high level understanding of, like, in essence, like, how does the product work? So let's just take an example, and it's not a social enterprise. QuickBooks. QuickBooks is an online platform that helps business owners, accountants, reconcile. It reconciles bank statements and to understand whether they're profitable or not, and gives them all the reports and insight they need to understand if they're running a healthy business. And the way that it does that is by bringing in financial data and analyzing that and displaying that in a report format or in a dashboard. I mean, look, that's all simply that we're asking for, right? In these descriptions. Question 21, which is around what type of traction does your idea or venture currently have? If you're in idea phase, the answer is zero, right? Like you don't have any traction. So in our minds, traction is a couple of things. It's either you received equity investment capital because someone saw that what you're doing is interesting and they saw the potential and therefore they put up their money. That's traction. Somebody who believed in you and they put money on the table for you to move forward in building this venture. Has nonprofits or foundations giving you grants? Have you been issued a convertible note? Have you already received donations, or do you have paying customers? In a nutshell, that's pretty much it. That is traction. Simply what this means to us is that it's okay if you don't have any traction, right? We're not looking for people to be burning up the world with a bunch of customers and a bunch of grant dollars rolling in. But if you do, it also helps, right? If we can understand these things, it helps us understand like how real is it, right? Like, are the dogs eating the dog food, right? Because what they see in front of them smells and looks compelling, right? And so this is what we want to see. If customers are investing in you, or organizations are investing in you through grants or investment dollars, that means that there's traction there, and that looks very well with our panel. Describe the areas in the idea or venture that the team needs the most help with developing. In this section, people put a variety of things. Well, we need legal service, we need a logo, we need those are very tactical things, right? What we really want to understand here is what are the strategic things that your team needs help with developing, right? Is it a business model? Is it a theory of change? Is it a financial model, right? Um, is it customer development? Um, Things that are to help move the needle in a very early stage social enterprise. So it just take a little bit of time to try to really understand strategically, like what are those high level areas that move the needle in your early stage social enterprise or idea, and articulate that in this section so that we can assess to understand whether or not we are capable of coming alongside of you in your areas of need. Question 26 is how or what is your plan to financially sustain the venture? This is a very important question. Ventures are always pressed because early stage ventures are always pressed because there's not a lot of time and money. Oftentimes the entrepreneurs or the social entrepreneurs have a second job or are working a job and they're doing this on the side, or even if they are in the venture, the number of resources in terms of financially are very, very scarce. And so in this, we just kind of want to understand, like, what is your plan to sustain the venture? Is it to scale customers? Is it to go out and get investment capital? Is it to go out there and get grants? The point is that you just need to put that on paper so we can understand that you have a plan to sustain yourself, especially during the course of the program, in a way that's going to be helpful for us to come alongside of you and to help you build. The last thing we want you to do is not have a plan, and in the middle of the program, you flame out. And then ultimately you end up leaving the program because you no longer have a venture, or you cannot sustain the venture itself. And so being able to articulate that gives us a good idea of strategically if you're thinking in the right way, but then also is at least that you have the components in place to sustain yourself. Now we get things happen. Not everything is perfect, but having a plan and on how you're going to sustain yourself is one of the hallmarks of what we're looking for when we're trying to identify who's world-class entrepreneurs that we want to invite into the fellowship. This question is really geared towards your plan to sustain yourself. If you have revenue, then it's I will pay myself money, or I have money that I will pay myself from the venture to sustain myself financially. If you do not have money, I have a second job, or I have a job, or I have a trust fund, or I have family support, or I have VC dollars coming in, or grant dollars coming in. The point is that one of the hardest things to do is to operate a venture and continue to move it forward if you're under a lot of financial stress. And so what happens is that when entrepreneurs are in that position, they tend to table the social enterprise or the venture and then focus on just getting a job. And that's fine, right? But in this program, what we want people to do is we want to bring in the people who are the most committed and are committed to working their ventures. And so what that means is that they have a plan to financially sustain themselves during the course of the program, where, as in the previous case, if things get tough, and we get things happen, but if things get tough, the likelihood of them leaving the program is less in the middle of it. And so once again, we only have 10 spots. We don't want to lose people throughout the program because they don't have a plan to financially sustain the social enterprise, or a plan to financially sustain themselves. And so question 28, I want to tap on this really quickly. Is just tell us something interesting about yourself. This is a time to just tell us something that has nothing to do with business, right? Or your social venture. If you climb Mount Kilimanjaro or the Himalayas or something like that, then this is the place to do it. If you like to skateboard and you are an Olympic skateboarder or Olympic breakdancer or whatever it is, let us know that. We want to know that there's real humans that we're working with. All of us are real humans. We have other aspects of who we are. And for Rally, especially because we work so close to you, we love it when we see that our fellows are not only passionate about building their social venture, but have other aspects of their lives that we can talk to, share with, or find commonality with, or even point them to other people that we know that are interested in this area. And so this is a very in this area, I just want to encourage everyone to not get businessy with this. This is an area where you just want to talk about personally, like, is there anything interesting about who you are that will make us laugh, or that just shows that you're just a regular human, just like all the rest of us, who have things that are interesting and that we enjoy. Number 29 is a question around, do you have or foresee any commitments that will inhibit your ability to fully participate in or complete the program? Rally is an 18-week program. 16-week program. And we want to see our entrepreneurs make it from the beginning to the end. And so if you have things that are coming up that will cause you to have to leave out the program, we want to understand that. It doesn't necessarily disqualify you, but in the end, is we only have 10 spots, and we want to make sure that the 10 spots that we give out or invite people into, that they're to individuals who have the highest probability of completing the program. And if they don't have a high probability, then we want to give that spot to someone else. And so really, we encourage you to be forthright in this question. It doesn't mean that we won't accept you, but maybe we table your application to another date, or maybe it just causes you to pause it because you think to yourself, I have commitments that won't allow me to complete it. And so this is a very real question for us, because we're just trying to make sure that we get people who have the highest probability, individuals who have the highest probability of completing a 16-week program into the fellowship. Question 30 is 3 times during the program, fellows convene for all-day programming. There's several sets. There's one in the beginning of the program that we call Rally 1, that's usually virtual. There's one in the middle of the program that we call Rally 2, that's in person, where we fly everybody in town and house them. That's all-day programming. And then the last one is a hybrid mix, where people who are a combination of people who are in person and virtual. And so, but the point is that we want all of our fellows that we accept into the program to be available for these. And so it's important for you to affirm in your application, because we want to make sure that all 10 of the individuals that we select are able to participate in these very important milestones. And so we want you to affirm that you're available on these dates. And so that way there's no doubt in our mind whether or not you have commitments that will interfere with your ability to complete or fully participate in the very important components of the program. Question 31 is around visas, right? If you are a U.S. citizen, this question is not even applicable to you because the program is located in Orlando, Florida, and there's no visa issues. If you are international, you either come from a country that is exempt from having a U.S. visa, and so we need to know that, or if you come from a country that requires a visa, we want to understand, will you have a visa by Rally 2, of actual visa by Rally 2. And so we want to understand, if you don't have one, are you in the process? And if so, where are you at in the process? And so this, once again, just helps us understand where people are at so that we can get 10 participants into the program that have all the right things in place that allows them to be able to participate fully in the program, not only virtually, but also in person. So once again, if you're a U.S. citizen, this question doesn't apply to you, but if you're anybody outside of that, please take time to understand this question and understand what's your visa status, whether you have one or not. And if you don't, where are you at in the process? Those things we need to know as a review panel. Well, that's it. Hopefully that brief just overview that was just kind of just done really quick and dirty and off the cuff was helpful for you in giving you the insight you need on some of the very specific questions that we deem all the questions are important, but there's some questions that definitely have more weight to them, and those are ones I reviewed. And so hopefully the time I spent with you kind of unpacking each of those questions will help you be able to answer them in a way that allows us to understand whether you are a world-class entrepreneur and that you're ready for the experience of Rally.